Thank you, Jerry. I'm Tim Behrens, and the name of the program is Jesus and Tim in Las Vegas. We come your way each week at this time on KKVV 1060 on the AM dial here in Las Vegas and kkvv.com worldwide. And the program, if you don't listen to it from 1:30 to 2 Pacific on Saturdays, will be up on our website, JesusandAndTim.tk, as in Thomas Kincaid, thanks to our hardworking friend Brandon later. Now, we're not having a newsletter this month. We will be consolidating the one for next month, and we'll have that out latter part of July, hopefully after we get back from French Guiana. I had my yellow fever shot yesterday. It takes 10 days to kick in. Hopefully, Pilot Mike Cahill can get his on Wednesday, because then he's got several long flights. And if he doesn't get it on Wednesday, we'll have to do French Guiana in August, because there's only 2 seats coming back right now. So pray that the Lord, if the Lord wants us there in July, that he'll be able to get that shot, and we'll be able to get those seats coming back. Well, it's a joy to be with you. I noticed there was another a shooting today. About 25 people got shot. Keep this in mind, beloved, when the media tells you that these are terrorists, not Muslims. Islam is a religion of peace. This is what the Quran says. Quran 2:191. Slay the unbelievers wherever you find them. Quran 3:28. Muslims must not take the infidels as friends. Quran 3:85. Any religion other than Islam is not acceptable. Quran 9:30. The Jews and Christians are perverts. Fight them. Quran 9:123. Make war on the infidels living in your neighborhood. These are true Muslims that are doing these things, folks, and we need to reach them with the gospel. I encourage you to read them. John 9:35 through 38. David Daniels says more Muslims have come to Christ through those verses than any other verses. That's where Jesus says he is the Son of God. Then you ask them, when do prophets lie? If they start talking about the Bible being corrupted, ask them, when did Muhammad ever say that? Muhammad never said that. So, reach them. They need to be reached. And said, well, I hate Muslim. No, we want to reach them with the gospel. God's not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. And that is Kleg Seth's belief and prayer, and that's probably why he started a ministry in Hollywood on 7/7/77. 2 other fellows and myself were a part of it. Well, Kleg, tell us about it. Centrum of Hollywood. Why did you start it? What was it all about?
Well, Centrum was birthed in prayer, and as you know, we were meeting with Dwayne Peterson in his office. Dwayne was one of the leaders in the Jesus movement. He had a Hollywood free paper that he handed out on the street that had testimonies and where Christian concerts were, and so we were just praying that God would open up homes to take in people off the street. And then God started opening up homes. The first home was the Sycamore House, a block from the Chinese Theater. And I noticed it was available to rent and talked to the owner. And in a miraculous way, God provided the first and last month rent that we needed. And I didn't realize until years later that the very first day we moved into the Sycamore House was 7/7/77. And then God just brought in people to be involved full-time. The staff, of course, was you and Armando and Jack and I, and then shortly after that, within a matter of just a few days, came Roy Silvernail. And the blessing is we'll hear from both Roy and Jack today on the program. And then Jack came to me and said, hey, Kleg, there's a house available a block over that's empty. Why don't we see about it being a woman's home? And so we inquired with the company that owned it, and it was part of property to be redeveloped. But they had seen the improvements Jack made on the men's house. So they said, well, we don't know how long you'll be in there because it's property to be redeveloped, but until you are, we'll rent it to you for $250 a month. Now, this was a 6-bedroom house with a 1-bedroom cottage and bath.
Wow.
For $250 a month in the heart of Hollywood. And then the First Presbyterian Church of Hollywood called and said, would you like to take over our 24-hour Hollywood Lifeline? So in a short period of time, we are a 24-hour crisis intervention ministry. with volunteers from a variety of churches, all Bible-believing churches, coming in and giving their time on the hotline or in the houses. And then we had full-time staff in the women's house. Pam Rice came in and did a fantastic job in starting that ministry. And we had others later on.
The late Wendell Burton, who just passed away.
Wendell was one of the great supporters and person that was active with Centrum. In fact, he ended up staying in the cottage behind the women's house and doing Bible studies, and just a blessing to have had him involved.
Bill and Brenda Myers.
Bill and Brenda Myers and Rocky the raccoon.
Right.
And by the way, the start of Centrum is scripted into a screenplay. And I'm a little biased, but I think it would be not only entertaining and humorous at times, but have a powerful message of the power of God and what God can do in working miracles that happened in the heart of Hollywood.
Yeah. Give us a couple of examples of people that we're going to be hearing from Jack Young in just a couple of minutes. But give us a couple of examples of people that came into Centrum of Hollywood and their lives are changed.
Well, there's many examples. I think of Helen Park, who had called from the bus depot in downtown Los Angeles, had came into the city with actually nothing, and she ended up coming into our women's house and getting saved, and I'm still in touch with her today. And I think of a tough Texan named Lorna Wright, who I'm still in touch with today, and she had been, well, let me just say that you could just about name some things that were not of the Lord that she was involved in. But, and I remember the first night she came in, she said, I'm just here overnight just to get my head squared away. And about 3 days later I saw her, and I'm thinking, now, I thought she was only going to be here overnight. And then I realized she got saved. And she, in fact, later on helped us staff the women's house and was temporary director, interim director for a while in our women's home.
One thing that ticked me off is they had this program, Entertainment Tonight, and they talked about an outreach. Well, it wasn't a Christian outreach for the street people, and they said it was the only one in Hollywood. You remember that?
Children of the Night.
Children of the Night, yeah. And they got all the publicity from the.
Yeah, well, they were trying to get funding to open up their own women's home. So
okay, yeah.
You know, they would.
They said there was nothing else like that in Hollywood. Did that bother you, not getting publicity from the mainstream press?
No, we did get some publicity, but I remember one time they interviewed a young man in our men's home, and he had a powerful story, and every other sentence was what God did.
Yeah.
And when they put it on the news, God was not mentioned once. They just eliminated every reference that he had given to what God had done.
Isn't that something?
In his life.
There's a fellow by the name of Brennan Young on the phone. Do you know him?
I've heard of him before.
Better known as Jack.
Yeah.
Jack Young.
Our good friend.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, how are you, Tim?
Good. Say hi to Clegg on my extreme right over here.
Clegg, how are you, sir?
Hey, good. Great to hear your voice again, Jack, and great to have you on the program.
Well, thank you very much.
What was Jack's involvement in?
Well, I'm going to ask Jack. Jack, how did you end up at Centrum?
Well, I think we were looking for a house to have a halfway house, and we found that beat-up, dilapidated house that was full of trash. And we made a deal to get it from Mr. Cars and started cleaning it out and prayed for the money, and Bob Munger contributed, I think, the first and last month's rent for it.
He did, yeah, he did. In fact, I still have the letter that he wrote on July 6th, the day before we paid Mr. Cars and moved into the house.
Now, he was the producer of The Omen.
He was.
Right?
Yeah. But,
And, I got to say that a lot of great things happened because you, Jack, improved the looks of the house in the front yard, and because of that, the management company gave us the use of the house a block away because they saw the improvements that had been made on the Sycamore house.
Yeah. Clegg and I can change. We can check our oil on our car, but that's about all. when it comes to anything else. Thank God for Jack. I mean, the Lord just brought a group of us together.
You know, everybody did their part.
Yeah.
In various ways.
Yeah.
Everybody did their part.
I just
did it in a different way.
I still remember Armando Bernstein from Puerto Rico. He wanted to go home and visit his brother, and he was fasting. And a lot of us wondered if it was ever going to happen. I mean, the night he was to leave for the airport, he still did not have the money for the ticket. Back then you could do that. And we were meeting for prayer, and I remember, and Armando comes down with his bags. He has no money. He's going to fly to Puerto Rico. And there was a Chinese gentleman there. I had never seen him before. I'd never seen him since. He says, "The Lord sent me here for a reason. Is there anybody that has a particular need?" And we pointed out that Armando needed money to get to Puerto Rico. He was flying here. He says, "I want to help out." And he paid for that ticket. And, I mean, stuff like that. Just, Chinese angels.
Yeah. Well, what were some of your recollections, recollections about Centrum?
Well, I remember we would get the soup from TikTok restaurant every day. And then we would pick up,
Yeah.
What was it, TikTok restaurant? Was it TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would pick up the day-old bread. I remember in the living room we had a mound of bread about 3 feet high. And we used to give the bread out to various people in ministries. And then we would go do side jobs at places to earn money for the ministry.
Yeah.
I remember painting some bungalow apartments in Pasadena. It was definitely the 70s because they wanted them all pea green. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never a dull moment.
No, it wasn't.
No, there was always something happening night and day.
That's right. We took a casket down Hollywood Boulevard, and the guys were dressed in black shrouds, and several of us were handing out, including Clegg, the track Hi There. You can read it at chick.com, and we had signs. Jesus said, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me," John 14:6, and then Hebrews 9:27, it's appointed unto the man once to die and then the judgment. And I must have scared the hell out of a lot of people, I would think, when they see a casket going down, or a coffin going down Hollywood Boulevard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember one time we just... people kept coming in, and I thought, we just don't have enough food. And we prayed that the Lord would multiply the food, and we had more food left over than, it just blew me away. I thought, this is a feeding of the loaves and fishes all over again. Just amazing.
But one thing you said, Jack, was so true, how God brought different people with different talents and different gifts. Mm-hmm. And, without the gifts that you had, we would have not been the ministry that we were.
No, absolutely. And
Armando didn't like me getting him up very much, but...
Well, you had been in Chino prison, right?
Well, YTS.
Right. And how did you meet the Lord in there?
Through Clegg and his ministry. They put on a play called The Uninvited Guest.
This is the Hollywood Free Theater?
No.
Oh.
Way before that.
Oh, okay.
Way before that.
Yeah. Oh.
And, of course, we mentioned earlier our good friend Wendell Burton. And you and your brother stayed with him for a while.
For quite some time, yeah.
And he had a dog named Crazy.
Well, Armando stayed there as well.
Right, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And Crazy loved Rocky. Rocky was the raccoon that Bill and Brenda Myers had. And it was It was something to see. And it just, there's so many memories. Any other memories stick out for you, Jack?
We would go to the Greyhound bus depot a lot, either to pick people up or take them there. We would take drive people all over the place in that station wagon.
Mm-hmm.
We would go to various functions. We would go to the Bill Gothard seminars.
That's right. In Long Beach.
Basic conflicts.
That's right. Yeah.
We would go to Angela's Temple downtown.
Right. Right.
Various things.
Yeah.
We did a lot of things.
Yeah. It was wonderful. Now, Centrum continues today, doesn't it, Clegg?
Yes, but it's when we were involved, it was Crisis Intervention Ministry. Now it's a men's discipleship program that Glenn Bucklew directs in Pahrump.
Okay. If people want more information about that, they just go to what? They just Google Centrum? C-E-N-T-R-U-M?
Yeah, or just go to Directory Assistance to get the telephone number. Centrum Ministries.
Centrum Ministries in Pahrump.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, some people are thinking about Centrum pills. They came out after we came out, right?
No, they came out before.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah, but the reason we chose the name Centrum was because a pastor friend of mine from Hope Lutheran Church had a vision for Hollywood, and he called this vision and ministry Centrum.
Okay.
Having homes to taking people off the streets and having all kinds of help and services. And so eventually he felt that ministry was not going to take off. And then I talked to him and said, well, look, that would be a great name for us because Centrum means city center.
Mm-hmm.
And in our logo, at the center of Centrum for the T is the cross. So, city center with the cross, and that's where that came from.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Jack, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We're going to talk to
my pleasure, and God bless both of you. We will talk to you soon.
All right, brother. God bless you.
Jack.
All right. A fellow by the name of Roy Silvernail is next. Let's talk to Roy. Roy, are you there?
Yes.
Well, good to hear your voice, Roy. This is Clegg.
Well, thank you, Clegg. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
And this is Tim. I'm on the extreme left of Clegg. So,
okay.
Clegg, Roy, you have a physical condition. Explain that to our listeners.
I have arthrogryposis, which is a deformity of the joints affecting my arms and legs and wrists and hands. And I have a hard time getting around and a hard time doing things, but God gives me what he gives me, and I work with it, and I can do almost anything that I need to do.
Amen.
I don't think there was anyone around Centrum that had more joy and was praising the Lord more than you.
At least I was the loudest.
Roy would sing a little off-key as he would walk down Hollywood Boulevard. And it was a joy to see, and it was a thrill, too, when we'd be talking to people inside the house, and they'd be complaining about their lot in life. And then Roy would come in his condition, singing about Jesus. And it just put a damper on everything, on their complaining.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts, Roy? What were some of your the highlights of Centrum for you?
Centrum to me was such a blessing. Learning how to share the gospel with people of all walks of life.
Yeah.
And people that come into the ministry there, that were homeless and needing, direction. It was just a total blessing.
Well, you were involved, first of all, in the Sycamore House.
Yes.
And then I remember you came to me one day and you said, Clegg, I think the Lord's moving me on. And I said, well, I got a great move for you, Roy. And you said, well, what's that? I said, a block away, the night shift on the Hollywood Lifeline. Now, I'm expecting you to say no, but you said yes. And you were on the Hollywood Lifeline at night. I don't know for how long, but for quite some time. And you had some rough calls that came in, as I recall.
Oh, yeah. We had everything, dreadful, and, we had suicide calls, and, there's just a variety, and it's just good to be able to give them answers from the Scriptures, that they can turn to.
Well, there's a lot of suicides these days, Roy, more than I've ever recalled in my life. What do you say to somebody who's on the verge of suicide?
Well, basically that there's always hope. And, that hope that I found in my life, because I was at the point of suicide at one point, was finding Jesus. So there is a hope that we can reach out to. We just have to have that willingness and say, okay, let's move with this. Let's turn and let's give him a chance.
Now, we all believe in Jesus healing people. He said he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. How would you deal with people, because you have a difficult time walking, how would you deal with people who would say, I'd like to pray for your healing? How would you respond to that? Because you believe in healing as well.
Correct. And I allow people to pray for me. Who knows, maybe at that prayer, I'd be healed.
Yeah.
And if not, I know I'm going to be healed either in this life or after this life.
Yeah.
The healing is coming.
I remember one response you gave to somebody that asked you that, and that was, I'm already healed. And we claim what the Lord has already done for us. And as you mentioned, that healing may come here or it may come in eternity, but it will come.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Once you die, you receive your healing.
That's it.
I've written a screenplay on the beginning of Centrum, and of course, two characters, and I don't mean to call you a character, Roy, but...
Oh, yes, you do.
But you and Sammy...
Yeah.
We're just, in fact, I think I mentioned to Wendell Burton, not to Wendell, but to Wendell Burton one time about the screenplay. And he said, well, the real story is Roy and Sammy.
That's really true.
And
Sammy, explain who Sammy was.
Sammy was a Native American who came up from Indio, part of the Cabazon band of Native Americans, had been having problems with alcohol and of course when he drank with anger, and I invited him up to Centrum and he came, and Roy was a guy that really had an impact on his life, and they became best friends, and Roy, I think, was so thankful that finally somebody came into the ministry who was shorter than him.
And he looked just like that guy in that TV program that would go, the plane, the plane. I can't remember what the name of the program was. But again, it was just exciting to see how God used you and how you influenced so many lives on the Lifeline, as well as in person in our men's house and in our women's house. So I remember you were there one time when Bob Dylan came for dinner, and I think you asked Pam if you were invited, and I think she said no, and that probably kind of hurt your feelings. But I think she was afraid you were going to start singing.
No comment.
All right. Hey, Roy, thank you so much for being a part of Centrum and being a blessing to us and so many people.
You're very welcome, and it was more of a blessing to me than it was to you guys.
Oh, amen. Well, we'll see you here, there, or in the air.
Okay.
God bless you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I think we have Glenn on, Glenn Bucklew. We only got a couple minutes. Is it? Hey, Glenn, how you doing, brother?
Well, not too bad. We got about, 2 minutes? Okay.
2 minutes, yep. Tell us briefly what you're doing there in Pahrump and how people can get a hold of you and be able to bless you.
Okay, real brief. What I'm doing out here in Pahrump is I'm keeping the name of Centrum alive and going, although at a much smaller scale and not nearly as active as we were back in Hollywood and the LA area.
And Glenn was involved in Hollywood, right?
Yes, I'm discipling men out here, a one-year discipleship program, which is cost-free to them, and which is pretty rare, and I don't understand why more people don't want it, but we won't go there. But that's what I do, and I've been doing that out here since 1988.
Okay.
So it's been about 29 years here in Pahrump.
And we've met a number of the guys that Glenn's been able to disciple, and they're doing fine. It's exciting to see what God is doing.
Oh, I want to say happy birthday to Centrum. 40 years.
40 years.
Amazed.
Yeah. 77. Yep. Amazing.
And I was blessed to be a part of it probably for about 36 of those years or so.
1983. 1983 you came on board?
1981, I think.
81?
82 or 83, somewhere in there. It's
okay.
so long. We're not going to argue over a year or two, huh?
How
Is Craig there with you?
How can somebody reach you?
We can call out here in Pahrump at 775-253-9009.
One more time.
775-253-9009.
Very good. Thank you so much, Glenn.
God bless you, Glenn. We love you and hope to see you soon.
Good talking to you.
Take
God
care.
bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Clegg, thank you so much. Kleg Seth, who founded Centrum with 3 of us other fellas back on 7/7/77. And what a blessing it's been. And boy, we'd love to see this made into a movie. If you'd pray that the Lord would open that door, that'd be wonderful. You can get today's program on JesusandAndTim.tk, and the June newsletter is up there as well. Thank you so much for your prayers. Be praying that Mike and I will be able to get to French Guiana. Pray that he'll be able to get his yellow fever shot on Wednesday. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait till August. But God never says whoops. Thank you so much, my friend. Live for the Lord and bring home all A's. God bless you. Bye-bye.